Gotta have the paycheck. Well, in your vote 2024, high drama at the U.S. Supreme Court, where arguments were heard as to whether former President Donald Trump should be removed from state primary ballots. The justices are set to determine whether to put Trump back onto the Colorado primary ballot after the state Supreme Court took him off in December.
Yeah, that's right. Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook joining us now live from outside the Supreme Court with the details of what happened today. Julia, good evening to you on a busy night.
Good evening from Washington. Today's hearing was about the Colorado ballot, but since former President Donald Trump is the Republican frontrunner for the 2024 presidential election, both sides acknowledge that the decision will have nationwide implications. The questioning today suggests support for Trump staying on the ballot. A lawyer representing the Colorado voters who challenged Donald Trump's eligibility in the state argues that a post-Civil War insurrection ban in Section 3 of the 14th Amendment bars Trump from serving as president again.
What is very clear from the history is that the framers were concerned about charismatic rebels who might rise through the ranks up to and including the presidency of the United States.
But a lawyer for the former president says that the 14th Amendment does not apply to Trump's presidency.
Officer of the United States refers only to appointed officials, and it does not encompass elected individuals such as the president or members of Congress.
Trump's team also arguing that what took place on January 6th was a riot, not an insurrection.
And the events were shameful, criminal, violent, all of those things, but did not qualify as insurrection as that term is used in Section 3.
The justices seemed poised to rule in favor of keeping the former president on the ballot, several of them signaling concern over the far-reaching implications if they rule in Colorado's favor.
Why should a single state have the ability to make this determination, not only for their own citizens, but for the rest of the nation?
Now, this is just one of many legal issues Trump is facing right now, and the Supreme Court could be asked to weigh in on another one soon. Trump pledged to appeal a federal appeals court ruling that decided he does not have complete immunity for alleged crimes he committed during his presidency. He has until Monday to ask the Supreme Court to temporarily block that decision. Reporting live in Washington, D.C., Julia Benbrook, WISH TV.
All right, Julia, thank you very much.